I've been putting off recording this video on procrastination, and I make no apologies for it. You know why? Sometimes putting something off is exactly the right thing to do. I've been busy with clients. My clients come first. No apologies. But what I really want to talk about is when you put things off that are important, it's not really the right thing to do. And I'm not just talking about the mundane task and the boring chores stuff. I'm talking about really important things like having that difficult conversation with someone, making a tough business decision, scheduling a medical appointment, saying no to a request, reaching out to someone after a misunderstanding. I'm talking about putting off those kinds of things. I've actually made a little bit of sustainable, meaningful progress as a lifelong procrastinator. And that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. When I told my husband I was doing this video, he laughed because he said, well, that's something you certainly know a lot about, Jan. You procrastinate like a pro. But even he has noted some progress. And he is what I would call a precrastinator, one of those rare human beings who get things done as soon as humanly possible, sometimes even ahead of time. It's frightening. So, what is it that's made a difference for me? Well, here's how it started. I ran across some research that suggests that procrastinating, putting things off, is not a time management issue, it's an emotion regulation issue. Learning that putting things off is an emotion regulation problem. It's not just that I'm lazy or scattered or incompetent. That was a game changer for me because all of a sudden, maybe the solution isn't to try harder or just download another productivity app. Maybe the solution is to learn better ways of responding to what I'm feeling when I so badly want to avoid that task. So, one of my strategies was to start paying a lot closer attention to what's going on in my head when I'm putting something off. And it was very interesting. The committee members in my head had a lot to say about this, starting with one of the most powerful committee members in my head and many people's head, the inner critic. My inner critic has always thought that the best way to motivate me and get me moving is to berate me, make me feel guilty, and beat up on me. Maybe that works for you. Maybe that works for some people. I don't find trying to shame myself into action a very effective strategy. I think it's a terrible strategy. And here's why. By the time I've recovered from the shame attack it's given me, that takes a while. By the time I've recovered, now I've lost that time just to get back to square one. When I started noticing more what's going in my head when I'm putting something off, I wasn't surprised at all to run into the inner critic. That's a committee member I know very well. What was really surprising was to encounter a committee member that I don't think I've ever really known existed. Um, Now, actually, it's a part of our brains that's helped us stay alive as a species. It's the part of our brain that's wired, programmed to look for danger, be on the alert for what could go wrong. But sometimes it becomes so big and so powerful that I would call mine the inner doomscroller. It's like this part of my brain that doesn't just doom scroll the news, it doom scrolls my future. So when I really started examining, well, what's the dialogue? What's it saying? When I'm thinking about doing some daunting or difficult task, I was amazed at the things that I heard, how negative it was. But this is what I heard. It's going to be really bad, Jan. This is going to take forever. It's going to be so hard. There's no way you can possibly get this done on time. When you have a committee member like that in your head that's saying things like that, it's like, no wonder you might say to yourself, let's just do it later. I want to get away from this. What I've learned is that these different committee members in our head, they are there for a reason. They have a function that only they can fulfill. So it's not like the goal here is to shut them down or vote them off the island. What's really important is that they not be running the meeting, that they not be sitting at the head of the table, running the meeting and making all the decisions. That's the job of what I call your inner CEO. Your inner CEO is this part of your brain that's really good at listening to the relevant data points from all these different committee members so it can zero in on what the real problem is and how to go about getting it fixed. When you tap into what I call the inner CEO part of your brain, it's amazingly helpful. It has this ability to, it's just this, it has this friendly curiosity of just being truly and genuinely interested in identifying what the real problem is and then finding ways to solve it. But it's not just this kind of clinical scientist, part of you. It actually has a lot of emotional intelligence. And here's what I mean by that. Your inner CEO can see what's really going on underneath your inner critic and your inner doom scroller. And what it knows is that under each of those is high anxiety. It knows that your inner critic may come off as cruel, mean, you know, and yet it knows that what's underneath that, it is so afraid that you're going to screw up, you're going to fail, and you're going to get hurt. Now, granted, the tactics it uses are awful, but it does have a protective function underneath. Your inner CEO recognizes that and has a way of helping just kind of diffuse the inner critic. And your inner CEO also is aware that this inner doom scroller, as I call it, that's obviously anxious. So there's this turning toward that anxiety and saying, oh, I can see how you are like totally freaked out here. You are so stuck. How can I help? What can we do to make it a little easier for you to get started, to make the first little step? And then it's good at tapping into yet another committee member in your brain that kind of knows how to plan that out step by step in a way that won't feel overwhelming and incredibly uncomfortable, so uncomfortable that your inner doom scroller just can't even show up. It's good at finding ways to calm that down. It's like, okay, we can deal with this. We can take it one step at a time, and that's all it takes. Just one step at a time. We don't have to be overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough to get us to the next step. That's the beauty of an inner CEO. That's how it works. Can you see why it's so incredibly valuable in your system and why you want that committee member right at the head of the table, running the meeting, facilitating, taking in all the relevant data points, and then making a decision about how to move forward and how to negotiate with those committee members in a way that they get on board. It's truly amazing. This is the kind of work I do with my clients who find themselves putting off that difficult decision or that hard conversation. If there's anything I've said about my approach to putting things off, especially about the committee members in your head that you're interested in learning more about, I'd love to talk with you. We can walk through your situation and look for ways of how can you tap into your own inner CEO, get yourself unstuck and moving forward.